welcome to the third edition of the Coach's Corner. Seeing with Coach Pellegrino here, and I'm Jeff Eisele, and just wanted to say it feels like it's been a while since we had the postponement against last week against Columbus, but that'll be October 5th. But let's start by doing a quick rehash of the Harris County game and what went right, what didn't go right. And a lot of things didn't go right, but let's talk about what did go right and what we need to work on.
Well, it seems so long ago since we played them, and we've gone through we've gone through JV and 2 weeks worth of practice since the last time we played. Not many things did go right. We had turnovers, we had some critical penalties, we had a lot of missed tackles. So using that week that we got the game postponed, we kind of recovered on some of our injuries and went back to the basics. We used the bye week as fundamental week really, and started getting back on track of getting back to the basics. We've had really great week of practice this week. I'm really impressed with the way the kids have responded, because they could have went the other way. They could have really tanked it in, especially after getting beat like we did 30-6, and the kids have responded in a real positive way. The coach has been energetic, and it's been a great week of practice.
That's great. So let's just go on to the game this week. This game is a big change of. We talked last time a little bit about travel and stuff like that. This week, going to Cairo is going to be a big change for the boys. What kind of schedule and activities are the boys going to go through this week?
Well, obviously, it's a pretty far trip, and we're going against an opponent that's been one of the elite teams in the region and in the state for the last several years. Tomorrow, we get out of school at 12:30, and we'll load the bus up and we'll go halfway, and we're going to have a pregame meal at Golden Corral in Albany, and then we'll load the bus back up and go the second half of the trip. And on the way back, obviously, we'll just make it straight through. But it is different for the kids. They got a half a day of school, and you got to pack your stuff, and you got to be sharp on making sure that you have everything available to you. So, because there ain't no running back up to the school, and the kids got a checklist. They got partners to make sure that they got all their stuff loaded up in their travel bags, and hopefully, the trip goes off without a hitch, and things work out for us.
Okay. We know Cairo was a excellent team last year, and they came up here to Columbus and beat Shaw pretty soundly. What's different about them, knowing they're starting off 1-2 or something like that this year? What's different about them compared to last year?
Well, they had several Division I kids last year. That matter of fact, their kid from last year, number 22, is getting playing time at Georgia right now. He's playing defensive end for them, and he's getting reps as a freshman. He's gotten a significant amount of playing time in the SEC. That's the first thing. You don't have him running the football in the backfield anymore. That kid's gone. They don't have a lot of Division I kids like they've had in the past, and their record is a reflection upon that. By no means can you say their record is an indication of them being so much inferior to the whole region, because like I said, last year, not only did they put it on us, they put it on everybody in the region, and I think they made it to the quarterfinals last year. They're still the front runner in our region. They're 1-0 in the region. They're still sitting at the top, and you can't take them lightly because they're Cairo. They got great tradition. They got a great fan base, and they got a great coaching staff, but they don't have those Division I kids this year like they've been had.
Okay. What sort of offensive tendencies or defensive tendencies do they show that we're going to have to be aware of?
Well, last year they had that really good quarterback, and he was a threat to run it and throw it. This year's quarterback doesn't throw the ball as good as last year's quarterback, and he's still a little bit younger. Up front, they're still pretty big. Their left guard is 6'7", about 260 pounds, move really well. He's a big kid. Defensively, they're not as loaded. They got 1 or 2 kids that are pretty good, but like last year, their whole defense. I think they signed 9 of their 11 defensive guys from last year. This year, it's not quite like that. Their secondary is not as good as it's been in the past, but their front is pretty solid. And obviously, if you don't have time to throw the football, it doesn't matter how good the other team's secondary is, you ain't going to be able to throw the ball. So there's some weaknesses there. We just have to try to, manage the game. And it goes back to almost every week I tell the kids the same thing. I'm starting to just hit play, on the record, because you can't beat yourself. And, the 3 games that we played, even the game that we won, I still felt like we were beating ourselves in some situations because I felt like we left about 30 or 40 points sitting on the field that we didn't take advantage of. We can't turn the ball over. We can't have silly penalties that put us behind the chains. The Harris County game, we had 8 times that it was 3rd and 15 or more. Not a lot of good play calling in 3rd and 15 or more. There were several times it was 20 plus, and we had at least 8 times that happened in the game. And I told the kids that's at least 2 times per quarter. And that's just way too much to be that far behind the chains, and it's all self-inflicted. So going into this week, we got to make sure that we don't beat ourselves.
Well, that's a good point. It was very evident in the game against Harris County how it looked like it was a struggle to, every time a good play happened, they were taking 2 steps backwards. So, it's good to keep working with the team to get them to realize, don't beat yourself. So anything different from our perspective on what you're going to have our team do compared to what we've done in the past? I mean, I know you talked about getting back to basics, but is there any changes that you're going to be making with personnel or anything this week?
Well, I think our special teams, there's going to be some new faces on our special teams. Our veteran guys haven't, I think they're taking special teams off. They're not going as full speed as we'd like them to be. They're not giving the effort on special teams, so we made some changes on there. Offensively and defensively, not too much. Right now, we're still living with the guys that we have. Over the course of the next couple of weeks, that may change. But right now, our offense and defense is pretty much the same, and the only changes will be on the special teams.
Okay. Well, that'll be it for this week. We'll come back next week to talk about the Cairo game and then look ahead to Columbus or Carver next week. Next week's game will be on Thursday night. This week's game won't be on. You won't be able to watch live through our website, but you will be able to next week against Carver. So let's look forward to having a good week this week against Cairo, and good luck to the team coach, and let's go get a win.
Jeff, we appreciate you, man, and look forward to it every week.
All right. See you next week.